Welcome to our discussion on AI bias and fairness, use of AI, and our discussion today. Feel free to ask questions at any time. One thing that is amazing about AI is just the emotions that it brings up. Hello there, RGO. My brain doesn't work all the time. Outreach. It's great to have you here, Virginia. One of the most impressive ladies on YouTube today. But back to AI, a story that kind of really amazes me about AI and using AI is I had a friend of mine who, once they found out about the fact that, oh, Bill uses AI. Oh, by the way, it's a little cold in here. That they said, promise me. And they know that when I make a promise, I keep a promise. And they said, don't ever use AI on me. And I don't even think they understand what use AI means. AI is nothing more than a computer program which has various things programmed into it and it'll respond to you. We have generative AI, we have AI that generates both text and photos, and AI has just become such a big thing in the news lately. I figured I'd highlight some of the AI in the news. Let's get into also what we have going on here with my, oh, that's the wrong one, isn't it? I wanted to do this one instead, which is with the thumbnail that we used today going in. This part right here, I used AI on, but I had the hardest time in the world to get this. So I finally went to a stock image. This is actually a flat icon, which I modified to fit in here. And then I used Photo P, which is not an AI generator. It's just a Photoshop clone. And for the final showing you right now, I'm using paint.net. Now let's get into a little bit more about AI. And for instance, it's gotten a lot of press. These are all, let's make it bigger. We have hearing on regulation, artificial intelligence from back in September. Senate Judiciary Subcommittee holds a hearing on AI. U.S. Senate Committee holds hearing on AI and the future of work. And subcommittees hearing and transparency in the use of AI. And part of the reason why they have this is because people that don't know AI are using AI. And they think they know what they're doing, but they don't. And the bottom line is that everybody who is familiar with AI, now they call it hallucinations. Woo! Well, that's actually AI when it makes a mistake. So the more you put AI in charge of things, the more you're admitting that something is that makes mistakes is going to go into the system. And that is really something to pay attention to, is the fact that AI makes mistakes. Now, we have some more in the news. House Subcommittee hearing explores AI in the use of healthcare. Now, this I think is amazing. I didn't read through the whole article, but if they're using it for doing diagnostics, that's not a real great thing to do. And in chasing down all of these information on AI, I was using just good old Google. Now, what Google's been using AI for their search parameters ever since they started search just about on their search engine. And basically what it does is it just goes in and it gives a certain strength to the way that your news is presented to you. When you do a search, it'll give you the most popular and the news that it thinks is correct for you. And in the future, they're talking about AI and ethics and the ethical use of AI and the transparency of AI. Several different areas. Yes, AI search. And with AI searching, you, when you're at any time and you're doing an AI, one thing that is, you then can go and make a mistake, because there's a difference between using Google search, which is set with parameters. I mean, Google search doesn't want to necessarily give you answers to stuff. It just wants to, if say you're looking for golden well, why don't I just give you an example rather than rambling on here. All right, so there's me. So you can have me just rambling on there, or we can go and open up a new tab and go Google search. Like say we were looking for golden retrievers, and let's make it bigger so you can see it better. Golden retriever, best dog food. I do now see, this is just pulling up. These are sponsored ads right there. So this is Google giving thing. Now here, this is a generative AI experiment. Not everybody's going to have that. I've actually signed up for this program. This is AI doing a search. So one of the things that you'll learn is as soon as you say something is a fact, somebody else will come along and disprove it if you haven't disproved it yourself already. Now, this is not what a normal Google search would have. This is the generative AI, which will give us what, the top 10 or something like that. And it gives us a little blurb. This is an AI generated blurb. Either that or they went into the actual advertisement and pulled it from there using AI. Now here's the actual search, which is best dog food for golden retrievers, which dog food does. Now these are questions that people ask, and the AI does a great job of presenting all that, the AI search. Now, another, like in the UK with AI, they've recently had court cases, and this is a really sticky subject. And what people are trying to, inventors are trying to get machines that invent other machines, basically. And this is what the gloom and doomers are talking about. And thankfully, the Supreme Court in the UK basically said, no, you cannot have the AI submit patents and own patents. AI can't own them, but the person who put the prompt into the AI that got the AI to generate out the inventions could hold them. So, commentary, Dr. Thaler, UK, Patent applications were part and project involved in parallel applications to patent offices around the world. UK's Supreme Court's ruling is unsurprisingly and follows similar decisions in the United States and Europe. Basically, the person who makes the patent has to know the patent. They have to be the one who basically can support whatever the AI generated. And then there is another problem that they're working on is the use of deep fakes. Now, there is fear of the use of deep fake. Now, what a deep fake is, just so that everybody knows, is it's where they impersonate, like, say, for example, me. They could copy my voice by getting all of my vowels and the way that I say things and come pretty close to getting what my voice sounds like. Now, here's the scary part. By grabbing just a couple of my facial gestures, they can also make a video. Now, the video isn't 100% accurate, but it's accurate enough that if you were not suspecting a deep fake, that you might get fooled. Oh, that's Bill. It sounds like Bill. It looks like Bill. Therefore, it is Bill. And that is a real big problem that everybody is very concerned about with AI, and rightfully so. And along with the regulation of AI, it's the regulation of people using AI, because I don't think deep fakes necessarily need to be outlawed. Because what if you want to deep fake your own self, which is what a lot of YouTube creators are doing these days? Well, not a lot, but enough that I'm commenting on it, where what they do is they get a model of themselves, which you can do, and you can, depending on your level of cash flow, you could either deep fake an audio or deep fake your audio. It would go in this way. You could deep fake a photo, because you can make an AI model of yourself for photographic purposes. That's the least expensive. Then the next step up would be audio. You can deep fake your own audio, where, like, say you're doing podcast, for example, that's an ethical use. Now, an unethical use, and in the podcast, you want to change a few words. Oh, there we go. We change a couple of words, no problem. And when Biden was running for president the first time, there actually was a deep fake in the primaries that was used, where they deep faked Biden's voice telling all the Democrat voters, I think it was in Massachusetts, or so the story goes, that they didn't have to go to the polls. Now, I listened to the deep fake because they had it on the news story that was running the problem. And that was pretty convincing. And those kind of uses of deep fake should and hopefully will be prosecuted by law in the future, because that is just, it's basically impersonating, and it's also interrupting with the presidential elections, which brings it up to being a federal law violation, even though whoever did it probably was thinking, oh, let's just see what we can do. So we've covered a little bit about ethics, a little bit about AI. As a matter of fact, what I did was I used Bard in this, for getting ready for this YouTube live today because Bard is a very good example of AI and an example of how fast AI is progressing. 2 months ago, if you went and you said, hey, Bard, draw me a picture, Bard wouldn't do it. Bard couldn't do it. It wasn't a question of won't do it. Now, with ethics and with bias, another problem, I should cover a little bit more about bias. Bias in AI is simply that. It's where you have filters, much like you put a filter on a camera. We all have filters in the way that we perceive information. AI has filters in the way that it is programmed to both receive and to deliver information. So it all depends on who the programmers are that are programming the AI. I hope that that's clear, but we'll see where we go from there. And there was one thing that I wanted to share also here, which is not that one. Let me see if I can call it up because I know I had it hiding around here somewhere. Generative AI, stock image. No, this is the one. Oh, yeah, it is the one. All right, this right here. An example. This is what I call a combo AI, and it's Crater AI, and I haven't really used it all that much. And we have write an article, which is one of my options. And I put in here AI ethics, bias, and fairness. This is a simple article about the dangers and what lawmakers need to take into account when making legislation for generative AI for both audio, which would be like the Biden thing that I was telling you about, video, which would be if you wanted to go to a higher level, Biden, or maybe even on YouTube. Maybe YouTube creators shouldn't be allowed to use it. I don't know. Print media, you don't want to be impersonating. One of the big things that they had trouble with when AI first came out, and another reason for the controversy, is people were having famous people in embarrassing situations using AI. And even video formats addressing deep fake and problems. Okay, so I figured let's check it out and do it live and generate it. I have not used this, so it's generating our content, and we will go off and talk about something else while it's doing it. So oh, wow, that was fast. AI is fast. Let's see what the quality of what we got was. I was expecting to see this to be blank for a long time. Now, see, it didn't pull out a picture, but I could then go into an AI program such as this one and have an illustration depicting the potential consequences of deepfake technology on elections. Let's see if Bard will do that, just out of curiosity, because I do have Bard. And by the way, just as I said last week, I said that Bard is well, I didn't say they're going to be taken over by Gemini. I said that the Bard is part of the Gemini program. And now they are actually calling Bard Gemini. And we've switched over to Bard. And let's see if it will do and we will put the cursor over here and generate a picture illustration. We just cut and paste, and let's see if it'll do it. Oh, Maybe it won't. We'll find out. Because pictures are something new to, draw. Sometimes Bard gives you pictures, sometimes it doesn't. This is the wonderful thing about AI and doing things live. And draw a pic. How about we go here? Draw a cat. See if we can get it into the mood. We're warming Bard up. Now we go that one. See, this doesn't really give a picture of that. So let's just picture of courtroom with lawyers arguing over AI. Let's see if this one will work. Oh, now this is part of the, this is part of the AI thing that I was talking about with bias. Bard has an over sensitive bias right now to AI. Anything that's counter to AI, it doesn't want anything to do with. Except it wrote it said it can't directly generate images, but it's not telling the truth. Let's see if we can backdoor the system a different way. See where it says Gemini up here? Let's type Bard in there. Because Bard was drawing me pictures. Even though it looks the same and doesn't. All right. Picture. How about we do the picture of the courtroom? And lawyers regulations. Now, Bard could draw it. Now, it does say Gemini. Oh, man, they took it out of there. See, it's funny because it says, while I cannot generate images, I can describe a courtroom scene. Now, this is, but it can't generate images, but it can a cat. This is part of the fact that AI, when it doesn't know, will make up stuff. See, there's a cat and it drew it. Any questions? No questions. Right. There we go. And AI ethics, that's us. This is legislation regarding AI ethics and bias over the last couple of years. NVIDIA's, I got this while I was going through and researching for our live today. It's interesting, some of the rulings that this has too, because this, for example, February 6th, Microsoft is collaborating with various news organizations to help adopt generative AI. However, the relationships are not related to solving the New York Times lawsuit against Microsoft involving alleged copyright infringement, according to the blogger Paul Thurrott. And then we have some actual rulings in here. It's interesting following AI. One of the things that I worry about is that we have people that really don't know about AI that are going to be ruling about AI. They may know about law, but they might not know about AI itself. This is stock image. Oh, I know why I wanted to have this one up here. I was going to show you the problems I was having doing the, all right, where's my history? I know I can get to it somehow. My projects. It's not showing it. Illustrations. History, there we go. This is why I ended up going to this was Lady Justice. Nothing in getting the scales was next to impossible. Whenever I got the scales right, the rest of it wasn't right. See, look at these scales over here. I mean, this one's a joke right here. These are all over the place. Lady Justice in front of courthouse. Golden hour lighting always works fairly well with most AI generated. And then I initially, Lady Justice was a lady, but the problem is that I couldn't get her to be blindfolded. So I had to write it in there, blindfold. And Crater AI. So these would have been the illustrations. And then, wow, it really concluded fairly fast here because it's got, in conclusion, the rise of generative AI technology has given birth to a new era of realistic and persuasive synthetic media. However, the potential dangers of bias, unfairness, and the manipulation of public opinion cannot be ignored. By implementing laws that regulate deepfake content, mitigating bias, and promoting fairness, policymakers can ensure that AI technology is used responsibly and ethically. Only through collective efforts can we navigate the treacherous waters of generative AI and protect the integrity of society and elections. I couldn't have said it better myself. And that's pretty much it. We were just doing a quick one today, talking about AI, the bias in AI, the ethical concerns. Now, one thing that I did forget about is my concept of one of the ethical ways to use AI. Now, in personal use of AI, I don't think a person should have to necessarily, oh, well, I sent you a Valentine's Day card, but I did it with AI, and therefore there's this big thing down at the bottom which says this Valentine's Day card was generated by AI and whatnot. I mean, it's no different than using a Hallmark card at that point. But what if you were to write a news article? Then, if you wrote a news article using AI, yes, I think AI should get credited. And I actually have a solution to that problem. And hopefully, the lawmakers come up with something like that. An AI index. And what the AI index would be is first, whatever program generated the output. Now that could be and usually it's the AI. So the AI first. Then after that, the prompt writer credited. Myself wrote the prompt. After that would be the AI index, which would be a proportion of how much work went into the prompt versus how much output was there. For example, what if 1/3 of the article you wrote was the prompt? Well, the article that you read was the prompt. Well, then that would be like a 33% AI index. But what if a person just put bicycles and got a whole article on bicycles? Then the AI, and then they sold that to a company that has, bicycling magazine. Then the AI index would be closer to, like, say, 95%. And therefore, the reader could look at that AI index and say, oh, well, the author, how much does the author know? Now, when it's something that's factual like that, another thing to take into consideration is the author has to know the subject. That is, especially if it's something that somebody could get hurt. Could imagine a doctor using AI and not proofreading. I mean, or even worse, somebody that's not a doctor presenting themselves as a medical expert, writing a medical paper, and not knowing the actual subject they're writing on. But the AI, when it doesn't know, and I've shown that on prior lives, when it doesn't know, it's going to give you something. Thoughts, things to consider. Let's have one last look. Wrong spot. No questions. Okay. I love you all. Have a great day. Super Bowl Sunday. May your team win. Love you all. Bye-bye.